All right, hello guys and girls, Wager Detective here. June 16th, 2026, we're going to get into this cap between the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox. Before we get into that, be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Set alerts on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and always remember, Wager Detective loves all his fans now and future ones in the future. I love you guys. Building a legacy to show why I am one of, if not the greatest handicapper in the world. And it's just going to be a little bit more exposure before that happens. So keep following Wager Detective, betting trends, strategies, this, that, the other. I love all you guys. Let's get into this cap. Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox. All right, the Blue Jays 5-5 in their last 10. They're 9-12 in one-run games, 10-13 versus the East, the American League East, and they're only 13-20 on the road this year. They are 7-5 in their last 12 games versus the Red Sox. 7 over, 5 under. They're scoring 3.92 runs per game to 4.5 for the Red Sox. Comes out to 8.42 runs per game average over those last 12 meetings. And before we go further, the Blue Jays are minus 120 here, and the Red Sox are plus 102. The over-under's coming in at 7.5. Slightly trending towards the over at minus 114, 106 on the under. Okay, so now the Blue Jays are 5-2, last 7 at the Red Sox, 3 over, 4 under. They're scoring 4.57 runs per game to 3.71 for the Red Sox. Last 7 meetings at Boston. Toronto 5-2 in their last 7 at the Red Sox. Now, the Blue Jays road night games this year, they are 9-11 on the year, 10 over, 10 under. They're scoring 3.65 runs per game to 3.95 for their opponents. Okay, so as far as this far in the cap, 7-5 last 12 versus the Red Sox. They're 5-2 last 7 at the Red Sox, and they're 9-11 in road night games. I look at the line and I say to myself, the only reason the line's probably looking this good is because Cease is on the mound, but that could be a tell. So let's see if that works into this. So 9-11 the Blue Jays are in their last 20 in their road night games this year, scoring 3.65 to 3.95 for their opponents. Now, the last 9 overall, the Blue Jays are 4-5 in their last 9, 6 over, 3 under. They're scoring 4 runs a game to 5.66 in their last 9 games. That comes out to 9.66 runs per game average. Now, if we look at what they've done against the American League East, they're 10-13 on the year. They were swept at Tampa Bay in a series on the road against Tampa Bay. So 10-13 versus the AL East, 14 over, 9 under, 3.91 runs per game to 4.65 runs per game for their opponent. That comes out to a 90 to 107 run differential disadvantage for them. And in their 23 games versus the American League East this year, the average score is coming out to 8.56 runs per game average. Now, on the road, when they open a series this year, their road openers, they are 3-7, 5 over, 5 under. They're scoring 3.4 runs per game to 4.4 for their opponent. Their opponents in those 10 road opener games of a series have scored 5+ 6 times. So it's a very, very mindful thing to keep an eye on. So, Blue Jays, 3-7 in road openers this year. Okay, now, on the mound, and the trend for this game, or the situational angle, is a day off from home and then the road, which the Blue Jays will be here. They had a home series, they had a day off, now they're on the road. They're 1-2 in that situation this year, 2 over, 1 under. Okay, so that's a situational angle on that game. So if we look at this, let's just look at the pitching before we get into the side of it. Dylan Cease is going to be on the mound. The Blue Jays are 3-2 in his last 5 outings, 2 over, 3 under. Last 5 outings, 2.74 ERA, 1.01 whip, but he is giving up 1.22 home runs per 9 in his last 5 outings. He's given up 4 home runs in his last 5 outings on 29 2/3 innings pitched. Also has 11 walks. So something to keep in mind there. Now, if we look at what he's done on the road this year, the Blue Jays are 2-3 when C starts on the road this year. 3.96 ERA, 1.32 whip, and 0.98 home runs per 9 for the Blue Jays when C starts on the road this year. Now, he's going to be starting on 6 days rest. He is 0-2. The Blue Jays are 0-2 this year when C starts on 6 days rest. He has a 3.10 ERA and a 1.29 whip in that situation. this year, and the Blue Jays are 7-5 this year when Dylan Cease starts. 1.14 whip to go along with that. So last 5, 2.74 ERA, but again, if we look at what he's doing on the road, 3.96 ERA. So the ERA jumps on the road this year by a run and change there, and the whip goes up to 1.32 on the road compared to 1.01 in his last 5. And the home runs come down on when he's on the road this year, but he's still almost a home run a game compared to his last 5, where he's giving up 1.22 home runs per 9. Now, if we look at what he's done this year after a home win next game road, where he starts, the Blue Jays are 0-2. That comes with a 4.09 ERA, a 1.18 whip, and he's giving up 1.63 home runs per 9 in games this year where he's won his previous start at home, and then he goes on the road. So if we look at all that, there's really not too many bright spots to say the Blue Jays should be minus 120. Yes, they're 7-5 the last 12 versus the Red Sox. Yes, they are 5-2 last 7 at the Red Sox. Last 9, not bad. They're scoring. Last 9 games overall, they are 4-5. They're scoring 4 runs a game, but they're giving up 5.66 runs per game. So they're giving up more than a run and a half more than what they're scoring over their last 9. And when we look at what they do against the American League East, they're scoring 3.91, but they're giving up 4.65. And the thing that stands out to me, they're in their road openers this year of a series, road opener game of the series, they're 3-7, scoring 3.4 to 4.4. And if we look at Cease, they're 3-2 in his last 5 outings, but he's given up 4 home runs, Cease, in his last 5 outings. I don't necessarily know if that's a good sign. I mean, if we look at what he's done on the road, yes, the Blue Jays are 2-3, but he has a 3.96 ERA and a 1.32 whip. So if we look at all those things, I don't necessarily believe the Blue Jays should be favored other than who they got on the mound as the starter. And we've seen this so many times before. People are just going to take the starter for what it is. They're not doing the research like this, like you're getting right here. So thank you for tuning in. Now, we're going to get into the Red Sox part of this cap. And if we look at the Red Sox, in their home night games this year, they are 8-11. They were swept by the Yankees in one of those series. And in their home night games, 8-11 this year, 8 over, 11 under. They're scoring 3.68 runs per game average to 3.36 for their opponent. So both teams, between their home and away night game splits, their scoring is almost identical, and what they're giving up is almost identical. But the Red Sox still marginally better in those categories. Again, 8-11 in home night games for the Red Sox this year, 7.04 runs per game in those games. Now, if we look at last 9 overall, the Red Sox really not playing that good. They're 3-6, 6 over, 3 under. In their last 9, they're scoring 4.11 runs per game, and they're giving up 4.55. So if we look at what they're giving up their last 9, Red Sox giving up 4.55 runs per game, but we look at the Blue Jays are giving up 5.66 runs per game over the last 9. So still, even though they're 3-6 and the Blue Jays are 4-5 in their last 9, they're scoring the same amount and they're giving up less than what the Blue Jays are. Now, versus the American League East, this is where it gets really depressing for them. They're 6-14 versus the American League East this year. They're scoring 3.4 runs per game to 4.25 for their American League East counterparts. That comes in at 68 to 85 run scored disadvantage for them, and the average score is 7.65 runs per game average. So 6-14 the Red Sox are versus the American League East this year. Again, I look at a trend like that and I'm looking for the bright spot. And I think as we get further in this cap, I think we're going to see the bright spot for the Red Sox in this game. So they're not playing good in their last 9, 3-6 overall. They're 6-14 versus the American League East this year. They were swept by Tampa Bay and the Yankees. But I do believe Tampa Bay and the Yankees are better than the Blue Jays. They will be better than them all year long. Now, in a home opener of a series this year, the Red Sox are only 4-7, 5 over, 6 under. They're scoring 4 runs a game to 4.09 for their opponent. So even though they're 4-7 in home openers of a series this year, they're still scoring more than what the Blue Jays are doing on the road in road openers. Red Sox scoring 4 runs a game in those 11 games in home openers, and the Blue Jays are scoring 3.4 runs per game in their 10 road openers of a series. So something to keep in mind there. And this year, the situational angle, home to home with a day off for the Red Sox, which they'll be here, they're 0-2, losing 6-7 and 1-2. So even though they're losing by a run in that split. And if we look in one-run games, like we said, don't forget the Blue Jays are 9-12 in one-run games this year. So it doesn't really look good for the Red Sox right here, but I think as we get further into the cap here, I think we might see a little bit of a change. Now, on the mound is going to be Peyton Tolly. Now, on the year, the Red Sox are 3-6 when he starts this year overall. Not really that good, right? He's got a 2.70 ERA, though, in 9 starts this year. He's only given up 3 home runs in 53 and a third inning pitch. So you're not going to see home runs here probably given up by this pitcher, Peyton Tolly, right? Now, if we look at Tolly in his last 5 starts, the Red Sox are 2-3, 3 over and 2 under. That's 7.5 that's set tonight. In his last 5 outings, he does have a 3.24 ERA and a 1.21 WHIP, and in 30 2/3 innings pitch, he's only given up 1 home run. So that's a bright spot for the Red Sox. Even though they're 2-3 in his last 5 starts, he's got a 3.24 ERA in his last 5. But if you look at overall in his 9 outings this year, he's got a 2.70 ERA. I expect it to get closer to that rather than going up in this game right here. Now, if we look at what he's done in home games this year, okay? In home games this year, the Red Sox, they're 1-4 when Tolly starts at home this year. But it's no fault to Tolly. If you look at this, in his 5 starts in home this year, 27 2/3 inning pitch, 25 hits, 7 earned runs, 7 walks, 2 home runs. That comes out to a 2.28 ERA, a 1.16 WHIP, and he's given up only a little more than a half run per 9 over his 5 starts at home this year. So you can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for them not winning when he starts at home this year, where they're 1-4 when he starts. But with that being said, he's only got a 2.28 ERA and a 1.16 WHIP. Okay? Now, if we look to what he's done against Toronto this year, Boston did lose 0-3. He got hammered here. In that game, he had 4.2 innings pitched, given up 3 earned runs and 4 walks when he saw Toronto this year earlier in the season. And in his last outing, he got hit pretty good. 6 innings pitched, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, and a walk. Guys, if I'm looking at this game, and let's get into like stats as far as contributors for both teams. If we look at batting averages, you got the number 8 guy in baseball, Wilson Contreras, batting .304, and Clement for Toronto, also number 8, batting .304. You got Rafaela, number 24 in baseball, batting .286. Guerrero, number 33 for the Blue Jays, batting .280. The Red Sox got 3 guys in the top 40 with Contreras, Rafaela, and Abreu in baseball in batting averages. Now, if we look at home runs, Boston's got 2 guys in the top 60, Contreras and Duran. Contreras with 16, coming in at number 16 in baseball. All the Blue Jays got is Okamoto, who's number 23 in baseball with 15 home runs. If we look at RBIs, it's not even close who's doing more contributing. It is the Red Sox. We got Contreras with 43, Duran with 36, Abreu with 34, Rafaela with 32. You only got 1 guy in the top 100 for the Blue Jays with RBIs, and that's Okamoto. And if we look at stolen bases, the Red Sox got 3 guys in the top 90 with Duran, Rafaela, and Connor Falefa. And the Blue Jays only got 1 guy, that's Jimenez, with 7. And if we look at saves, we got the number 7 guy in baseball with Chapman, who has 14. But on the other side, you got Varland coming in the top 10. He's number 10 in baseball with 12 saves. So pretty competitive there. But if we look at who's doing what over their last 3 games, Rafaela, batting .384 in his last 3 games. If we look at Abreu, batting .416 in his last three games. Wilson Contreras batting .667 in his last 3 games, with 3 home runs and 4 RBIs. We look at Duran; he's batting .250 in his last 3 games with a home run and RBI. And if we look at Abreu, again, batting .416 in his last 3 games with a home run and 5 RBIs. Guys, if I'm looking at this game, I got to 1,000% absolutely love the Boston Red Sox here. And as far as an over-under, I don't necessarily know if I would play with that. I do believe that Boston is the play here, the Boston Red Sox, just considering how they're heating up and everything we've looked at. The only thing that stands out to me for the Blue Jays is the fact that, yeah, they have played Boston real well over their last 12, where they're 7-5 and they're 5-2 their last 7 at Boston. But I just think based off how both these teams are playing, Blue Jays are on the move from home to the road with a day off. Red Sox are coming off a home-to-home series with a day off, where they're 0-2 but losing by 1 run in both those games. Guys, if I'm looking at this game, I do lean the Boston Red Sox to win this game at plus money. Get on them now. The only thing that Blue Jays got is they do have Dylan Cease on the mound, but Tolly at home. I think the Red Sox are going to score here. They might jump on Cease early, and I just believe that right now at this particular time, I think, and even with Tolly on the mound, I mean, the results of when he starts aren't necessarily that good, but the guy has a 2.28 ERA in home starts this year, and he's got even over his last 5, a 3.24 ERA against a team that's not scoring as much as what Boston is. Marginally, Boston's going to get the last at bat, and I think if they're winning going into the 8th and 9th, I think Chapman can shut it down. So, Wager Detective going with the Boston Red Sox to win today as an underdog, small underdog. And as far as an over-under in this game, I would rather lean with Boston, which I don't like doing, laying 1.5 with the home team. But I do believe Boston wins this game. I would just leave it there. As far as an over-under, if I did have to take it, it's kind of sketch. But I would lean probably under here. But I would lean Boston to win this game. You might see a home run or 2 go out. If you are, look for Wilson Contreras. Look for Jaron Duran. So that's the call here, June 16th, 2026. Wager Detective calling the Boston Red Sox to win this game as a small dog. Follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Set alerts on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. And always remember, Wager Detective loves all his fans. And I'll talk to you soon.